The Jamie Vogler Talk Show, ladies and gents, a show that I've gone and created to talk to people involved in the boating, camping, fishing, four-wheel driving industry, whether that be influencers, whether that be brands. I'm going to sit down and ask them in-depth questions that you guys want to know. Anyway, guys, sit back, relax. Hope you guys enjoy the show. So, mate, welcome to the show. For the people who don't know who you are, tell them a bit about yourself, what got you here, and what you've done in the last 3 years.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Jamie. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Pretty fortunate to film this sort of talk show in a pretty good part of the world, Western Australia. So, so I'm Marco Kelsall. I'm originally from the Mornington Peninsula, actually a town called Frankston. A few people might know that. It used to be pretty rough down there.
Down in Victoria, right?
Yeah, yep. Victoria. I sort of, pretty from an adventurous family. Always travelled. Mum and dad are teachers, so always on school holidays. Like we went away. I've never had a school holidays in my life at home, so been pretty fortunate with mum and dad and my sister. Did a lot of domestic travel with them. A lot overseas. Went around the world for 8 months. Just did a whole massive trip everywhere, all over the show with mum, dad, and my sister. I think I was 12 at the time. So always had a passion for travelling. Played a lot of sports, like footy, surf lifesaving, was swimming for a bit, tennis. Sort of later on, sort of that 18 to 23, so I was like fighting a bit with a few mates and stuff, which was good.
That sort of brought you into obviously travelling as well, because you worked for a bit back home. And then, then it led you into the travelling for the past 3 years. Yeah,
for sure. So it just it just started from when I was young, really, just with mum and dad. Like, they're both big travellers. Dad travelled around the world for sort of 7 years or so on his own, and mum and him did it for 2 or 3. So, it was always kind of grass-rooted in what I was doing. All through my apprenticeship, I only got sort of 4 weeks a year paid, but I always used to take more. Like, my old boss was a legend, so I was always travelling, but never really on my own a lot. It was only until, we'll sort of talk about later on, but until I sort of left and home and went around Australia on my own, that was kind of the first time I'd done a lot of travelling by myself. Other than that, it was like with teams like footy, or well, not so much footy actually, but like lifesaving. Me and one of my best mates were heavily involved in racing, like got a 5th in Australia and went to a world championship and raced, and there was always travelling all over the state with that, and quite lucky with sponsors and whatnot. So like I said, always travelling, but then sort of started my apprenticeship 6 months after school or so. Worked for actually a racing team before that for a few months. Damaged my finger pretty bad, which is all good now, but just went into carpentry, different field of work, and got really lucky, got an amazing boss, like absolute legend. Sort of did my apprenticeship. I think second year I started my own business, just on the side, doing work. Had that for like 2-3 years, and was coming up towards the end of my apprenticeship, and that's when COVID hit. True. And it sort of like hit Australia around that like February, but we're all just laughing, taking the piss, like me and the boys, the government was telling us we couldn't do shit, and we were just going to KFC and hanging out like this, just talking around a chair, like a couple of chairs, and Australia went into that sort of first lockdown, and I was like, what am I going to do here? And it was coming up to me in my apprenticeship. My boss was like, what are you going to do? I was like, I'll just work for myself. And he's like, why don't you go around Australia? Like, the world's a bit funny at the minute. Pack your ute up. Like, I've got a big GU patrol. I can go anywhere in a boat and stuff. And he said, just go around Australia. I was like, nah, not really. Well, it's not for me. I'm a completely different person now. Like, when I was 18, I wanted to be a billionaire and like have massive sky rises in the city. From get-go, I just wanted to earn a heap of money and just be huge, which isn't the case anymore. He said, go around Australia. So I was like, oh yeah, whatever. I thought about it for a couple of days, and when you like start getting G'd up for a holiday, and you get really excited. I was like, oh. And then I told mum and dad, and they're like, that's a great idea, just do it. And in my head, I was like, you know what, I'll just pack to go around Australia, but I might get to like Sydney or Byron.
And do a U-turn.
And I'll do a U-turn, and that's the worst that can happen.
For sure.
I've spent $2,000 on like a 4-week holiday, and I'm back home where I started.
And it still would have been a banging holiday anyway.
That's it, eh? It's not like I'm packing up to move to Syria or Afghanistan, you know what I mean? Like, it's just going down the road.
Yeah, for sure.
Packed the patrol up, and I drove out of the driveway and like that was it. I rocked it. Oh, I sent like a few Snapchats to the boys. I'm like, fuck boys, I'm not going to be home for a while, eh? What do you mean? I'm like, I'm just loving it already. And I was only like an hour down the road.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually forgot all my awning poles.
Yeah.
And luckily my sister took the day off and she rang me and I rang her. I was like, can you bring all these awning poles up?
Oh, true,
and she like drove an hour, dropped them off with my dog, and I got like one last cuddle with him. It was sick. Like, and then she left and I just got going and haven't looked back. And just went up the east coast of Australia, drove straight to a place called Manana. Heap of mates live there, absolute legends. Stayed with them for a couple of weeks. And that's when Victoria went proper skits. You know, like, just went nuts, you know, like, and I just sort of looked back briefly and was like, lucky I'm not there. And I just started heading north, like, went up the coast, went to Byron. It was that time of COVID where you were sitting down, like us, you couldn't get up and dance. I was always getting in trouble for getting up, like, after a few years. You can imagine there's music
we
going.
have to get the dance for it.
100%. I was in Byron, I was there for a while, and then the Queensland New South Wales border opened up, and I jumped across. Full got questioned by the coppers and had to prove I was in New South Wales for more than 2 weeks, which is fine, like they're just doing their job. Went into Queensland and just went up the coast, and it was dead, and everything was so cheap, mate. Like, at that time I wasn't even free camping because backpackers were like $10 a night.
True.
With like breakfast included.
Yeah.
And like I was staying in 8-bedroom dorms on my own.
Yeah, right.
Like it was just crazy. Whereas now
true.
you can't find a room for like less than $40 a night.
Yeah, because it's taken the complete sort of opposite swing, hasn't it? Everything's busy now, and
100%.
I feel like everyone's started to find a love for travelling Australia, and because of COVID,
for sure.
And then which is good for tourism,
great
obviously,
for tourism,
in Australia. But back to that, what you said before, like. Obviously, COVID was something, and your boss was something that just made you sort of get up and leave straight out the gate. If you're 18 and you're sitting at home, you just finished school, or any age for that matter, whether you're 18 to 50, 60, 70, and you're sitting at home and you want to go, and it doesn't have to be a lap, but go on a bit more of a trip. What would you say to someone to help them, you know, the people watching, to motivate them to actually go and do that, to like get up and just send it, you know?
I actually say to people, when you go like a national park and there's a heap of people there, you get to the scenic spot where you're taking photos, there's a nice view. You know, there's always like one spot where you can go with stairs, but there's always that side track, and you're always off there doing, and you get to the bottom of the gorge and you're all jumping. If you're a videographer, you're getting sick content because no one's there, you're having fun, laughing. And there's that like 70-year-old that's up the top and he can't do that. And he didn't travel when he was young. That's what should make you do it.
For sure.
You know, like, you're not going to get that chance again. Like, you're only young once, so just go out and be an idiot and just have fun. You know, like, because you're going to get to an age one day, even like 40, you know, your knee starts to hurt. So I don't know whether the jet ski's in the frame or not, but you're not going to go and spend 8 hours on the back of that thing, diving with the boys, getting big tiger sharks after you, having a laugh. And then at the end of the day, going to the pub and you're up till 4 a.m. because you went to a bush doof after. You're not going to be doing that when you're 50 or 60, you know? Like,
I feel like it's important as well, depending on what old people you surround yourself with, but you chat to older people and sometimes they don't have those memories or whatever, and, you know, they'll sort of have that regret and they can't go do it. Like Marco said, they can't just jump on a jet ski or something and go for a bit of a cruise around, and there's also older people that I know that have done that, and the stories are just endless. You could do a podcast like this and you chat to them for days, and they've just got stories and stories. And like Marco, he's 26 now, and the stories are already peeling through. I think that's enough of a reason to actually go and just send it and do it, because you can't do it when you're older, so you may as well. But,
and whenever I go home, not that I've spent much time since. So whenever I go home, not that I've spent much time since I've sort of left, whenever I'm there, I always run into like older people that know me from I was a young boy, or even not, and they're always like, "Oh, I wish I did that," and they've got money. Like one of my mates, his dad has a contract to a massive university in Melbourne, so he would have money pouring out his ass, and I literally walked in and saw him at Bunnings, and he said, "Oh, I wish I did that. Like I might do a lap now in a caravan, but I wish I did that.
Won't be the same. Yeah.
And they all say that. All the older people that haven't done it all say that.
Yeah.
And like, I say to people, if you travel now, you're only delaying your retirement by a year or two, you know. You're doing it now. You're having fun now. Like, you can always just go back and start saving money. It's
100%
easy.
easy,
Whereas
yeah.
when you're older, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't reverse that.
Yeah.
So you may as well just do it when you're young. Like, you've got nothing to lose.
100%. And the opportunities that can come from it as well, especially in this day and age, is crazy. You know, you could rock up to a town and get some dream job, or, you know, meet someone or meet some mates. For instance, Marco and I wouldn't know each other if we didn't travel around. So there's so many pros that come from it, and I don't know why people, you know, don't do it. And it, obviously, I guess this stems to the next question that I'm thinking in my brain, is solo travel it's not for everyone.
No.
100%. But sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah.
What would you say the hardest bit about solo traveling, we'll just keep it in Australia, is for you?
Yeah, hardest bit would probably be, or for me, it'd be missing out on stuff at home, probably.
Yep.
Even though I don't miss home, when things happen, for example, my cousin's birthday, the borders were like really hit and miss. They like opened for a little bit there, then, sorry, not my cousin's birthday, my cousin's wedding. They opened for a little bit here. And remember Mr. McGowan was like, oh, I'm going to open the border, and then that date come, he was like, actually, no, we're not.
Yeah.
If I had booked flights and everything and gone to Melbourne and expecting it was going to open so I could get back and it didn't, I would have been stuck.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it happened. He announced a new date, and I booked flights, and I was lucky I left and went home and I could get back to WA.
Yeah.
And people will probably think, oh, who cares if you're stuck at home? But like, all my stuff was over here. All my new mates were here. I had a job briefly here.
The whole lifestyle was over here.
It was all over here, you know. So like, that was a gamble for me.
Yeah.
So it's probably missing out on things. I've missed out on a few, like, mates' birthdays, cousins' birthdays, a couple of Christmases. Unfortunately, a mate took his life when I was interstate.
Yeah.
I was in Karajini at the time. Like, couldn't get back.
And it's just,
You know, like, just shit like that, where it's like, it kind of, I'm pretty, like, thick-skinned, but it does get to you a little bit. So,
yeah, for sure. Because obviously the, you know, you're quite, well, lonely, I guess, when you're travelling around. What would be the best way to sort of make mates, you know, and, you know, if you're not a confident person, how would you go about that?
It's interesting because people think it's really hard to, like, be out there on your own, but when you're actually on your own, that's when it becomes easy.
For sure, yeah.
You know, like, and I say to the boys, like, I'll tell them, oh, I'll go out on my own, and they're like, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you're out on a night out or even during the day and you see someone on their own down the beach or at the bar or a pub, you always say, oh, they're on their own.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, you just know they're on their own.
Sure.
So it works in favour for you because when you're on your own, everyone can pick up you on your own and they'll approach you, and it's always the nice people.
Yeah.
You're not going to have some drunk dickhead come up to you. Or maybe, I probably shouldn't say that because girls unfortunately get pestered a lot on nights out. I shouldn't say that. But you will have a nice girl come up to you and go, oh, are you on your own? Or like, but that will never happen if you're not. So you may as well just go and try it, see how you go, and you'll love it. Some of my best mates these days, both males and females, are because I've been on my own. They've come up to me and, oh, are you here with anyone? Like, and, oh, no, I'm not. They're like, oh, come join our group. And before you know it, you're with a bunch of legends diving off the Ningaloo coast. Like,
yeah, I think we were chatting about the other day, you sort of, if you're on your own and you have a group come up to you, it's almost always, you know, especially if you're in a town out in the remote Australia, city might be different, but if you're in, you know, remote Australia and you have a group come up to you, it's the best feeling on the planet. And you're never going to just say, go away. You'll have a chat to them, you'll talk to them, and you know, 9 out of 10 times you'll end up doing something fun with them. But it's just that feeling of when you're on your own and you've got a group, it's sort of, it is so intimidating, you know, to go up to them, but they're almost never going to shrug you off, and it's always going to make your night, well, so fun.
For sure.
Because you're the new bloke in the group. And there's numerous occasions that I can even think of when that's happened, and you know, I'm sure you'd have a heap more. So.
And it's like, one other thing too is, whenever you're on a night out, or even if there isn't, you know, like whatever down the beach, like I was saying before, and you see someone on their own, you never take the piss out of them.
For sure.
Like even like with us boys, if we see a girl or a boy sitting down the beach on their own, we don't just go, oh, what a loner, like what an idiot.
Yeah.
You never do that. If they're like a bit weirdo or something, you might go, oh, he's a bit of a weirdo.
Yeah.
But if they're
Generally
just normal
speaking,
people,
you're a good
generally
bloke.
speaking, you never. It's not like you go to the pub and go, oh, he's a loner, he's on his own.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just like you just don't do that. That's just like something people create in their head of what happens, but actually doesn't happen.
Yeah. Which is the best part about travelling as well, and seeing people who are travelling as well. You know, you've got backpackers and you've got all sorts of different people and groups, like for example Airlie Beach, Exmouth, Broome, just a couple of places that just bring in so many different people who want to have fun and travel and stuff. So everyone's usually in the same boat as you, or they were at some point. So they're always keen to sort of, you know, have fun. And if they're travelling to places like that, they'd be into travelling, into boating, camping, fishing, getting on the beers, having a good time.
And
so,
I've always thought I find it, I'll like go to a car park or something to camp up at night, or I'll go to a pub and people are like, there's no one going to be there at the pub.
Yeah.
It's like, there's what, 7.5 billion people on the planet.
Yeah.
If you're thinking it, someone else is thinking it. The amount of times I've pulled up in a car park in the middle of nowhere just for the night because I'm driving.
Yeah.
And a couple other people pull up and before you know it, we're playing card games.
Yeah.
It's crazy. If you're, same as a pub on a night out, you know, like you pull into a small rural town, you don't know whether there's some bunch of girls having a girls trip away or a bunch of lads on a motorbike trip, and before you know it, you get chatting to them, you've got bikes too on the trailer. Next minute you know it, tomorrow you're riding bikes together on the beach. Like, it's just, you just got to go out there and just do it.
Meet the love of your life, mate. A few van girls or something. You never know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Nah, it's good fun travelling, and I reckon you've got to do it at least once, or at least for a little bit.
For sure.
Especially in your younger years. You just may as well. But this is a completely different question. But best place you've ever been in Australia, out of the blue.
Yeah, I get this a fair bit. There's a lot of places, but nothing goes past Exmouth, Western Australia. Yeah.
Why is that?
It's like a combination of things, you know, like for example, look at the beaches around the joint. They're amazing.
Yeah.
The majority of other beaches like that anywhere in Australia are just packed.
For sure.
You're packed, you've got to pay for parking, you know, like it's overcrowded.
Yeah.
And Exmouth's lucky it's in a position where, you know, I think don't quote me, maybe 1,300 from the closest major city being Perth.
Perth, yeah.
Yeah, there's Geraldton, but that's tiny.
Yeah. And you go north and Karratha and Broome are nothing. Just working mining towns. So.
Yes, and next stop's Darwin.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is in the middle of nowhere. Like it really is. So you just get all these amazing things, the surf, the beach, the diving. People, everything. And it's just not overcrowded. It's just a perfect amount.
So what would be, I'm not going to say the equivalent, but what would be your favourite over east side?
Over east? East side. It would probably be... I'd probably cop a bit of shit for it, but I reckon Byron.
You reckon Byron Bay? Yeah.
Byron, like, it's definitely changed a lot, but it just has a great mixture of people, you know, like...
So for people, you reckon Byron Bay? Or?
Yeah, people, Byron, and just the environment, you know, like, there's a lot of other places that are probably nicer and less people, but it's a really cool spot, like, you know, you can go north a little bit to Goldie, or you can go south a bit to get out of the way.
Yeah.
The weather's nice. I've got a lot of mates that live there.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it's a great spot. So, yeah, I'd say East Coast, in my opinion, would be Byron.
Yeah. It's another spot as well, which attracts a lot of travellers. So
yeah, for sure.
You just got that good sort of vibe about it. And I'd say, well, the whole coast has good places, but Airlie Beach for me would probably be... one of the best. Byron's good. And Airlie Beach, but it's very seasonal. So but there's so many good places to see.
Yeah, depends a lot on what you want to do and what you want to see for sure.
Yeah. So obviously on the road it's expensive.
Yeah.
How much do you think someone would need to travel, let's say to do a lap of Australia, and also time?
Yeah. Yeah, so it works out roughly. For me, it's a bit more expensive because I've got a massive car with huge tyres and whatever.
Yeah.
So mine's probably...
And you like to go out on the drinks.
And I like to drink and do a lot of... And I just don't hold back.
Yeah, yeah.
But, so for me, it works out to be on the East Coast... Well, around Australia, it works out to be roughly... Here's the thing for you. Started COVID, it was about $33,000 to $35,000 ended up being, which is about $1 a kilometre.
For a lap of Australia.
For a lap of Australia, about $1 a kilometre. Now I probably spend minimum like 42. So like if you've got a GU Patrol with 35s, your car is on about 18 litres per 100 and you're towing a boat,
Yeah.
and you're on your own, you're looking at 40 grand for 12 months on the road.
Yeah.
If you're in a van, you're in a van, a new van, it's doing 7 litres per 100, you don't have a boat, you're vegan, so you shop at the markets, and not much of a drinker. A friend of mine was budgeting for 400 a week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So like,
So there's ways to get around it. You just got to obviously limit what you're doing. You know, if you're doing a lap in a super yacht, it's going to be millions. So
yeah, for sure.
Depends what you're after, I guess. And
So
also, I guess another point as well is if you're traveling with a friend or your partner or something, because you can then split that. So the travel becomes instead of 40-20, which makes it a lot more affordable and easier as well.
Splitting fuel and food are your biggest costs, really. So if you can split that fuel, it's like, cheap as chips.
Yeah.
If I had a misso, I'd still be on the East Coast probably.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got WA yet.
You reckon,
Nah, it's just, you can spend so much time everywhere.
Or because you've got company,
and just like, and the cost too.
Yeah.
You know, like, the slower you travel, it is cheaper.
Yeah.
But if you're doing stuff when you're going slow, you know, like you're doing the exact same drinking, going out in the boat every day, the longer you take to do it, obviously it's more.
For sure.
Because if you just do a quick lap for 12 months, it's going to be 35 grand. But if you take 3.5 years to do it, like me, it costs you 120,000.
Yeah.
So like, it's one of those things where if you've got a misso, you can just sort of, you're not stopping around and getting distracted. And,
How would you tell people, or how would you advise people to save money when they're on the road? As in, what can people do to make it a lot cheaper?
Yeah, for sure. In my opinion, straight up, it'd be buy a freezer.
Yeah.
Because you can buy things on sale, like, especially meat. You like your meat and your fish. You can chop it up, put it in your freezer, and that's your meat sorted really for the next month.
That's true.
Whereas if you've got a fridge, you only really got maybe like 5 to 7 days in terms of meat.
Yeah.
So like you're always buying stuff, and sometimes, for example, Nalu, you do a big shop at Carnarvon. If you get there and they've all got their fresh produce in and there's no sales, you're stuffed. You're buying everything at full price. Whereas if the day before you're in Geraldton and there's a heap of meat on sale, you know, it's 2 days out from its expiry or whatever, you can just stock up a month's worth of meat and chuck it in, and you're only buying veggies from now on for the next month.
100%, yeah.
So definitely get a freezer and shop at the end of the day. That's when everything goes on sale.
True.
If it's going to go on sale, it'll be the end of the day.
Yeah.
Whereas you go in the morning or midday, still got all their crap out there that everyone, you know, all the old stuff's still there that people are going to buy, so it doesn't go on sale.
Yeah, it's funny watching, you know, yourself versus me, because, you know, obviously we've done a lot of travelling in the last year together, but there's little things that I notice as well that would help you save. Like, for instance, I'll always just go and, you know, if I've finished up the water in the car, I'll go and buy like a, 2 litre bottle of water, which will set you back $4 or something, which I'm just like, $4, you know, is what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas you won't, and by the end of the month trip, I've spent $50 on water, and you know, you've just gone and filled it up at a tap, and it's little things like that
for sure
will save, you know, $50 a week over the whole year gets pretty expensive.
Yeah, like if you're buying a bottle of water a day, or I'm notorious for an iced coffee a day. But if you're doing water on top of that and other small things at the servo, stuff like that, it's just crazy. It just builds up so quick.
Yeah.
When you could be using that money just to like, perfect example, you buy a bottle of water a day, it's maybe like $5 from the servo or something.
Yeah.
It costs $7 to stay at like a national park campground.
Yeah.
So that could be going towards your camping fees
more
for the
nights.
week.
Yeah,
A few more nights.
yeah.
But no, you're spying it on water because
Yeah.
you can't be stuff filling it up somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
So and also free camping.
That's I was gonna say. So you were just saying $7 a night for camping.
Yeah.
Caravan parks are. I think we just paid 60 or something
Yeah.
for one night for an unpowered site.
Yeah.
Is that like a big? How would you recommend someone go about that? Do you stay in caravan parks? Do you go free camps? How do you find free camps?
Yeah, it's actually interesting because prior to my lap of Australia, I'd never free camped in terms of illegally.
Yeah.
I've always like just either been in the caravan park with my parents for camping, or when we go away in the boys trip, you don't have to pay for national parks in Victoria.
True.
You just pull up and you can camp anywhere.
Yeah.
There's a couple of spots, I think Wilson's Prom's one, and there's one other, I can't remember where, they're national parks, so government land, and you have to pay.
Yeah.
But everything else in Victoria is free, which we're really lucky about that. Whereas a lot of other places in the country, you've got to pay for everything. So yeah, I'd always just not paid. And then I got to New South Wales and I was like, you have to pay there and you have to pay there. So I was staying in caravan parks for a bit.
Oh, really?
Until I met some people and they were like, oh, come down here and we're just going to free camp and just like in the car park, just get up early and avoid the ranger.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of thinking...
Hope there's no rangers watching this.
Yeah, I was like, oh, is that what you do?
Yeah.
And then I did it and I'm like, why am I paying for accommodation?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would have paid in 3.5 years bugger all for accommodation. I just
because you're free camping around.
Just pull up in a car park, do a sneaky and pull up somewhere, you know, like behind the cop shop or, you know, whatever. Like, I think it's, we won't get into it because it's a bit of a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But, like, the fact that you can't just pull up somewhere in Australia, like anywhere on public land, is a joke. Like, don't get me wrong, you shouldn't be able to go in the dunes and tear the whole thing up.
Yeah.
But in terms of like pulling up in a car park on your way to another town, like that's just stupid. Like, how is it any different from a homeless person sleeping in the city?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't we allowed to?
Yeah,
you know,
I think
like,
it is a rabbit warren. But I think it's, you know, other people obviously ruin it. And
for sure, it ruin it. You know, people
which
leave
is just
their
a
rubbish
joke,
around.
Yeah.
If it all worked out and people were good about it, it'd be great.
100%.
People picked up their rubbish, but they don't. So it's just typical minority ruin it for the majority, which is fair enough. You see where the government comes from. You can imagine if there was 100 people in the dunes shitting and throwing their rubbish everywhere, it wouldn't work. So
and I think it's, you know, there is a few good things, especially around Western Australia. Like, for instance, where we are, Wedge Island right now, they've put in sort of campsites that are all maintained by the ranger, and I think it costs you like $10, I think, a vehicle to stay there. You've got a fire pit, you know, you've got this nice little flat area, and if they can keep doing that, I think that's a really good start because it stops people from camping anywhere.
For sure.
Place is clean.
Yeah.
And you can sort of really easily maintain that. But when it comes to, if you want to stay in a city, any major city around Australia, you have to stay in a caravan park or get a hotel or something, and that's where your budget just leaves the chat, really. So.
And it's almost a bit disappointing as well because it's like, it's good for people to be out and about, travelling, exploring, like finding out history about Australia, whereas it's like you've got these caravan parks that are taking the piss out of people. Like, what? I've never been good at maths, but do 365 times $65 and see what the figure is. You know, how do you expect someone to like? How do you expect an 18-year-old bloke to travel around Australia and pay that? Like, there's just no chance. So that's
exactly. I think caravan parks are good for the sort of grey nomads and people who have a bit of coin and can afford that type of stuff. So, talking about towing though, you had a tinny for your whole 3 years. Up until recently. Would you recommend towing a tinny, or is that something you just wouldn't do?
If you're on your own, I'd recommend jet ski. For sure. Because jet ski, you can drive in anything, like you really can. And for like punches and stuff, it's great. If you're somewhere for only a couple of days and the wind kicks up, and you've only got like a 3 metre tinny, you're not punching 4K to an island. Like it's just not happening. It might, but it's just stupid. Whereas a jet ski, you can just launch it. It's easy. You take the cover off and you push in the water. Like a boat, it's just a bit more tricky.
I think, the only benefit a tinny, there's a few benefits I think, but the biggest benefit would be you can take mates.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, like you said, solo travel or even with a partner or whatnot.
Yeah.
The ski's great, but when you want to have some mates, it's pretty hard to sort of. Well, you can get 3 people on the old ski, but it does get a little bit touchy.
Yeah,
So.
but I'd definitely just recommend a watercraft.
Yeah.
Take a watercraft. It's just like you see so much more than what. It's just a different kettle of fish. You know, like there's cliffs in Tasmania, and like in SA that I've driven past, and it just looks like Norway. You know, like it just looks fake. Yeah. Whereas you don't get to see that unless you pay $200 to sit on a jet boat or something.
Yeah, Tasmania looks insane.
Yeah, you've got to get down there, or you have, eh?
I have before, but not by car, so
that's
something. Yeah, definitely. Would you say that's the most underrated state in Australia?
Nah, I would say SA is.
You reckon?
Yeah.
True. Yeah, no one talks about SA.
Yeah, SA is like a WA version, but just a bit colder. Like, not many people. Some beaches are beautiful,
good
like
people.
Turquoise water. I don't know how much you like saying turquoise. You know, like good people, genuine. I think it's also like more old school Australia. You know, like they're still a bit behind Melbourne. Yeah, so it's like you can get back and it's more relaxed. Cops are legends.
Yeah, right.
Don't get me wrong, I've got heaps of mates in Victoria that are cops. They're all legends too, but you know, like they're just more chill back over there. Like you've got a jacked up patrol. They're not going to pull you over. They know you're on a highway just trying to get to your camp spot. Whereas you drive with patrol through Melbourne, you're done. So,
would you say if someone's just bought a car, what would you say the first mods you'd do to it? Travelling Australia is a bit different, but just to get on the road and get out and about, what would you say?
I'd definitely say some tyres.
Yeah. Tyres
are your main thing. Like, everyone thinks you need to have some jacked up huge car. I've had hire cars that are forward drives that are stock as a rock.
You've taken them off, bro.
I've taken them to places my patrol goes, you know, and so have mates have got like stock forward drives. One of my mates is notorious for it. He's from Kalbarri and he had like a stock car and it would go where my patrol went. It's just a bit of right boot, forward drive, you have a good set of tyres on there, that's it. Like if you can get tyres, probably in this order, tyres, a bit of suspension to save the bottom of your car, a 12-volt system and a snorkel, you can go anywhere in Australia, like
for sure.
Anywhere. You'll go exactly the same place as my patrol will. Like
I think the car's the most important thing, the reliability of it.
Yeah, reliability and the driver too. Like
for sure.
You see a lot of people with $200,000 cars and they can't drive.
Yeah, there's plenty of that going around. I think another important thing as well is insurance. It's such a cheap thing, cheap price to pay for such good safety, to be able to have roadside insurance and also to be able to be towed home and not cost you, a couple grand. My brother just went through that. If you're watching Jack, mate, go get your insurance.
You pissed your brother off a lot. He was pretty upset for a day there.
But it's such a cheap price to pay just to be able to get you home.
Yeah.
If you're up, 1,000 k's north, you can get home virtually for free. Yeah. You know, whereas if you don't, that could ruin your lap.
Oh, it's crazy, mate. Like that. Yeah. We'll talk about it actually because a lot of people don't have it. Yeah. So in Victoria, it's RACV. Here, it's RAC.
Yeah.
I've used them twice and they're amazing. Like I was in Weeper, my clutch had a leak, and it was going to take a week to be fixed. Yeah. And they just like saw the accommodation, bought me food, gave me a hire car for a whole week. Like they're incredible. Like you're an idiot not to do it. Yeah. You know, I've had mates that get stuck on the gib and the tow's like 4.5, 6, 7 grand. Like if you don't have that roadside cover, that's out of your pocket, mate. Like that's it. Yeah.
All right, so I got some questions from the audience, mate. I put a bit of a poll up on the Instagram, and some people have come through and asked. I won't say who asked, but I'll ask some of the best ones. So, sketchiest moment you've had on the road?
Sketchiest moment. There's been a few. There's two. They're both actually kind of the same.
Yeah.
So I'll just explain.
I've heard a few, so I'm keen to see which one you're going to come up with.
There's a few. Unfortunately, they both involve like knives, which is pretty scary. So
it's important for people to know though.
Well, it happens. Because shit happens on the road.
Yeah.
Like you know, I'm 6'4" and 90 kilo, and I've been in situations where I'm a bit sketched out. Not sketched out, because I don't really care about dying. If I die, I don't care. I'm doing what I'm having
You're doing
fun.
what you want,
Yeah, so I don't care.
Yeah.
But like, there is people that would get quite scared. So,
yeah, 100%.
A mate and I, well, two mates and I, Levi and Lachlan. Levi's a good family friend of mine since I was a young boy, and Lachlan was a schoolmate, absolute legend.
Yeah.
We were in Esperance, and we'd gone out for a few beers, and we're having fun and stuff, and we'd parked up the end of the road. There's a school. It was school holidays. We'd parked in the car park just for the night because we were going to have a few beers, didn't want to drink drive.
Yeah.
Anyway, on their way back, our way back I should say, there was this guy yelling and screaming. And he sounded skits. You know, like someone's drunk and they're yelling and screaming?
Yeah.
And like I'm the type of person, I'll scream back. I'll be like, "Ah!" And, you know, stir them up.
Yeah.
Especially at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Because they could be a good bloke.
Oh, yeah. But he wasn't. He was something a bit, like, weird.
Yeah.
And so we actually crossed the road and avoided him, completely avoided him, and went up through these bushes just to, like, stay away from him.
Yeah.
And because we were pissed, we must have been talking quite loud. We weren't talking about him. We actually weren't talking shit because we didn't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
And he's like going, "What did you say?" And we were like, "How did he hear us?" Anyway, we like get back to the car, sneak through all these bushes, and we're like setting up our swags. And I had my back to the road, and Levi goes, "Marco, turn around." And he said it in his voice of like,
he was scared.
Yeah, like as in there was urgency to turn around. So I turn around and here's this guy at the other side of the car park with his massive knife.
That's what?
I'm like, shit. And my boat was there and I had like the oars, you know, the metal oars. I've like grabbed the oar and like pulled it out, and he's come thinking that would scare him off, and he's come closer.
Oh.
And I'm like, he hasn't taken my bluff here.
Yeah.
And he's gotten closer, and he's like jumped on like all fours like a monkey, and he's got this huge knife, and he's like scraping it on the road, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you," and I'm like, "Boys, run!" So we all just took off, went up through this school, like in through these bushes. He was skits, man.
Was he chasing you?
Yeah, he was chasing us. He eventually stopped. He didn't chase us for long, but enough to scare us.
That's wild, yeah.
Anyway, we hid in the bushes, and usually stuff like that, I would be like, I'd just let it slide. But I was like, nah, like, imagine if we were like, you know, a couple of 18-year-olds that hadn't experienced life before, maybe got a bit chirpy back, and before you know it, they're dead.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, nah, fuck this bloke. So I called the coppers, and I was like, real like silent as in this bush, like whispering, and I was like, "You better get here because we don't know whether he's still chasing us or not." And they're like, "Yeah, they'll be there." Anyway, within 15 seconds, old mate ended up telling me they were around the corner. I was like, "And don't have the siren on," because I was worried he was near us.
True.
And maybe if he heard the siren, that they would like, he would like get us.
Yeah.
Because people don't know, like when you call 000, you can ask for no siren.
Yeah, righto.
Yeah, so like say, if you're in a domestic with your partner or whatever, and he's threatening you, you can call 000 and ask for no siren.
Yeah.
So they'll get there, and you can run out the front, and the cops are there.
True.
Whereas if your partner hears the sirens, there's a good chance he's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Because so you can always ask for no sirens, and they'll try and do it. Sometimes they can't, but they'll try.
Yeah.
So they rocked up no sirens, even though the lights could be seen from 200 metres away. I didn't ask them to turn that off.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they've rocked up, and I've jumped out of the bushes, and I'm like to the bloke. He's just tried to like chase after us with a knife. He's over there. They've gone over. They didn't draw their guns. I thought they would, but they didn't.
Yeah.
There was like 6 of them. And I said to them, just in the heat of the moment, I don't know why I said it, because at the end of the day, they're police. They know more than I do.
Yeah.
But I was like, just be careful, guys. He's got a knife.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's what I said to the cop.
Because he was that intimidating.
That's how intimidating was.
Yeah.
And he was like, don't worry, mate. We've got guns. And they all went over there, grabbed him. And like I heard this bag of like knives. Anyway, the cop was like, "Where are you staying tonight?" And we're like, "We don't know. We've been drinking." So he breath tested us. We blew just under.
Yeah.
So we got in the cars, moved them, but then we went down to the station and had to do a statement and shit. And I I could see him in the camera. He was all locked up in his cell.
Oh, really?
We were all having a good laugh
Yeah.
at him, bloody pig. Anyway,
Yeah, the last laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, they like took down all these details, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know whether we should tell you, but he actually had like a cardboard checkout of his ex,
No way.
and he was like stabbing the box with these knives.
Yeah, right.
So like there was a
He was
like,
crazy.
Yeah, he was.
There was more to
proper-
it, obviously.
Yeah,
than-
he was nuts, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, the most psycho thing was we were shopping in Woolies the next morning, and he's there.
Oh, no way.
Me and the boys walked straight past him. He didn't recognise us because he was probably all skitched out on drugs.
Yeah.
He didn't recognise us, and us boys are like,
How'd he get out?
how does that work? Like,
Yeah.
how's he out?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, whatever. So there's that, and then kind of a bit similar in a national park, northern Western Australia.
I know this one.
Yeah, I won't say the town
Yeah.
that is near it, just because
Yeah.
it's a small town, so I just don't want...
Ruin the town.
Yeah, I don't want a name for it and shit.
Yeah.
But we all camped out in this national park, and my mate's name's Arthur, actually. Arthur and I, he's a legend.
Yeah.
Him and I were camped out there, free camping, picking all our rubbish up and not shitting all over the ground like most people do. But anyway, this car rolls in quite late. And we'd like had a couple of drinks and not pissed, but and had dinner. This car rolls in. He's like, "Oh, do you mind if we stay there?" We're like, "Yeah, of course, mate. Pull up there, Come over for a drink if you want later." Anyway, he's sort of set this wagon up, and he comes over like 10 minutes later and sits near us. And from get-go, he was a weirdo.
Yeah.
Proper weirdo.
Yeah.
I don't mind weirdos. Everyone's got their own story, but
Yeah.
And he just started rambling all this crap. We put it down to, we think he might have been like in the SAS or something, or had seen like a lot of violence in his life.
Yeah.
Because he was saying all this crazy stuff, like how he'd like killed people, not illegally, as in like I reckon he was an ex-soldier or something that maybe served.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was saying all this stuff, and my mate and I were looking at each other like, "Oh, probably should get out of here." Anyway, there was no way to escape, like without looking sus.
Yeah. And you thought he'd do something.
Yeah. And I thought, I might try and like scare him a bit. So early I was saying like he used to fight a bit at home with my mates, MMA. So I just kind of brought that up. I was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And he asked me, and I was like, "Oh, I used to fight," and I sort of ramped it right up and was like, "Oh, I love smashing people's heads in, like just to try and scare him away, like end the friction that was going on."
Yeah.
But nah, he just went proper like on the
Made him worse.
Yeah, made him worse, and I'm like, "Fuck, that's when it's time to go."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make myself some more dinner." I got up, got this knife out of my car, like my fishing knife, and just clipped it on under my shirt, just in case shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, maybe I'm a psycho. Like, I'm getting a knife. Like, am I overthinking this?
Yeah.
I wasn't pissed, but I had a couple of beers. Anyway, I went over to my mate's car, and he had his big filleting knife on the back of his ute, and I'm like, "Have you got that out because you're making something, or because of him?" He's like, "No, I've got it because of him." And I'm like, "Fuck, Arthur, it's time to go."
Yeah.
So I went over to him and I shot myself in the foot because I said, "Oh, my mate called me. He's down the road. We're going to go camp with him tonight." And he's like, "There's no reception."
Oh.
Yeah. And like, luckily I just thought, I was like, "No, I'm the UHF."
Oh.
And he's like, "Oh." So we packed up the rooftops, packed up the cars, drove out of there. And man, we were like shaking. We ended up crossing this river and like camping on the other side. And we were like shaking from it, and yeah, we just, to this day, we still talk about it. It was a bit sketch, but I'm glad we just removed ourselves from the situation rather than like camp there.
Yeah.
We just like, even though we're two big blokes, we're not going to just like sit there to cause trouble. We're like, nah, let's leave, get out of here,
it's the
remove
easiest
ourselves, move on. I actually got worded up that he was in town causing trouble. That bloke had the shit kicked out of him by some locals.
Yeah.
So like, I'm glad we just kind of moved on, and best thing to do, just remove yourself from the situation. Like,
I think you have so many different, I could think of a few sketchy situations that even I've been in, but I think the time you're on the road, you could probably count on your hands how many sketchy situations you have out of 3 years. Like, you don't have a whole lot, but it's important to know that you can, and what to do. And I think solo travel is great, but you got to choose your places where you're doing it. Make sure that people know where you are,
for sure,
and that you're all equipped if something does happen and
Yeah.
whatever. So travelling in groups is obviously safe, and that's where I think in those sketchier places, which you will get worded up about as well if you are heading there, is just to make sure you know what the place is like, and also you might have to stay in a caravan park in some cases.
And it's very easy to just remove yourselves from those situations.
Yeah.
You know, like, for example, we camped in the national park. We could have camped out the back of town, you know, or like out the back of the cop shop.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, or in a supermarket under lights with CCTV.
Yeah.
You know, it's really easy to just remove yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like young, I'm a male, so I'll put myself in those situations. I don't really care.
For sure.
Whereas it's very easy just to not do that. Like, so.
Yeah, 100%. All right, next question. Someone's asked, what car would you recommend them buy to travel?
Yeah. In terms of four-wheel drive, I'm pretty biased on this one. But, so
Don't say Nissan.
the Nissan GU Patrol.
Yeah.
They're not 16 grand now because of COVID, but I bought mine for 16 grand and it's taken me all over Australia.
How many Ks do you reckon?
It's got 540,000 on it. So it doesn't leak a drop of oil. I've done the bearings on it once, which is crazy considering I've done well over 120,000 on it.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's never broken down. Like, it's just for 16 grand. Like, they might be 20 now, 25.
Yeah.
They're old school. They're easy to work on. There's no like ECUs and stuff in them. You know, like it's all mechanically injected. Like, they're just such
Reliable
a good car.
workhorse.
They're reliable. Like, it's very rare they're just going to go bang
For sure.
and just break down. It might run like dog shit if something happens and it'll get you out of there, but it's not just going to go bang. Whereas like a lot of cars these days they'll just go out of nowhere, bang, like the Hiluxes. So yeah, I'm biased with that one. And like, sure, you can go and buy a 79 series for that. But like,
He was biased.
I'm biased.
If you like Toyotas, get a 70. If you like Nissan,
Mate, I've never seen a Nissan in the mechanical shop like ever, all around Australia. But you see cruisers everywhere. Like the diffs on them aren't as strong. So they're just so overpriced. Like, but
they're overpriced. I think it depends on budget for this question.
Yeah.
And also, like you said, it's good as well. The Nissan, like obviously I drive a Prado. This thing here is another story. Like the electrics they've got in it is just crazy. And they're comfortable. They're good. They can be really reliable. But when something does go wrong, for people like us who don't really know a whole lot, well, you can't really do anything without a computer system. So whereas the Patrol, you can just take a part off, do some bush mechanics, and you'll get yourself out of there.
There's no limp mode.
Yeah.
Like, there's none of that.
Yeah.
Like,
so, regardless of what it is, but those older cars, the 70 series Patrols, even, any sort of car that's a bit older, you get for a cheap price, and you can sort of, you'll be in and out of there.
Yeah. There's definitely a line. Like
sure.
if you're in the mines and you're on 200k a year, 250.
This is the girl you want.
This is the girl you want. Or you'd be buying a brand new D-Max.
Yeah.
Or Ranger. Well, not Ranger. They've been shocking lately, But a brand new D-Max.
Yeah.
You'd be stupid not to do a lap in a brand new D-Max.
Yes, for sure.
But if you can't afford that, buy yourself like a GU or an old cruiser.
Yeah.
Like,
It's all budget and also what you're doing as well. But I think like, a Ram, just for an example, or a Chop 200 or something a bit bigger. If you're a family and you've got money, then by all means, go do it. But this, I guess the question's hard to answer for everyone because even, if it's just too hard to answer for everyone. But I think you're right. An older Patrol or something around that 20 grand mark for someone getting into it will get them out of trouble pretty easy.
Yeah.
So, all right, next question. How much money would you spend on alcohol in 1 year of travelling?
I actually have it on my phone. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think in just under 2 years, I spent 5,000. I spent 5,000, just over 5,200, on alcohol from the Bodlo.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is when you first started the lap?
Nah, I actually started to. The first lap was all receipts.
Yeah.
Then I got an app, and now the app tracks it all.
Yeah.
As in, like, I manually enter it. So yeah, last time I looked, it was like 5,200 for about a 2-year period there.
Yeah.
And that was from the Bodlo. So like, it doesn't include nights out, stuff like that.
That's what stings you.
Yeah. It's a lot of money, like 2.5K a year, but we have a lot of fun.
It's a lot. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine the memories that we'd have if we didn't, go out and have those raft ups and fishing trips without the beers and stuff. But you don't have to do it, and you do save a heck of a lot of money if you don't.
Yeah.
And you can also have a bloody good time without it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
This is a good one. Someone's obviously knows your account. They've said thoughts on Mount Everest.
Yeah, right. So the people watching that don't know, I did Nepal base camp.
Yep.
Which was up there with one of the craziest times of my life. Like, I got altitude sickness.
Yeah.
Just pushed through, but was so sick. But amazing. Like, it was just as good even though I was sick as it would have been if I wasn't sick. Like, it was just insane.
Is it as hard as people say? Because obviously you didn't climb to the top of Everest. For Everest Base Camp, it's not just a couple hour hike.
Nah,
what goes into that?
It's just under 14 days.
Yeah.
And I think it took us 3 or maybe 4 days of that is coming down. So the rest of it is going up. So it just takes ages to go up. It depends, mate. It's one of those things. It doesn't matter how fit you are. You can't change altitude sickness. If you get it, you get it. Yeah. If you don't get it, you're great. Like, a good mate of mine now, Foxy, from like our way back home, I met him doing the trek.
Yeah.
And I had 2 acclimatisations days, and he had only 1, and he was fine. He was way better Nick than I am, and we were just as fit as each other. If I had to skip one like he did, because his plane was delayed a day, I would have been stuffed. I wouldn't have probably made it. No way. Like, I would have been too sick. Whereas he skipped one and just powered through, and he was fine, and he wasn't sick. Still had his appetite. And that's something you can't change. Unless, it doesn't matter what you do, you can't. It doesn't matter how fit you are. There's stories of like SAS soldiers running past older women on the trek, and before you know it, they're coming back down a day later on a stretcher because they just get that sick. Yeah. So, it's one of those things where if you're lucky and you're fine, it's great for you. You can do anything. If
the scenery, would you recommend people go there?
Oh, 100%
photos look
it.
Next level.
100% recommend it. It's amazing. Like, just to be there and looking at Mount Everest, like, it's just...
I couldn't imagine putting it even into perspective of how big it is.
You can't. Like, and just how raw it is up there. Even though there's base camp, there's nothing. Like, there's no power lines, there's no water mains. It's just like all just natural and just like, it's just amazing. And the views is incredible. Even though you're not at the top of Everest, you feel like you're above the clouds, mate. I've got a video where we're above the clouds. It's almost like an ocean floor. Everything's below you and you just got the peaks there, and that's like, it's unbelievable. I recommend it, and it's cheap. It's like $4 or $5 grand to do it for like a life-changing, incredible experience. There was a young boy up there. I asked him how old he was. He was 14. He was carrying 120 kilos worth of steel on his back. Like,
Nepal local.
Yeah, like a Sherpa, a young boy, Sherpa, was carrying this steel A-frame that was, over 100 kilos, and he's 14 years old. Like, imagine carrying a 100-kilo barbell from, 100 metres along sand. Yeah. Imagine how hard that would be, let alone in the peaks, for weeks on end. He'd been doing it for 2 weeks, if that doesn't change your life, nothing's going to.
I was going to say, the international... Actually, let's just say travel in general, because there's a few places in Australia where you travel around to the places and it opens your eyes, especially international, in these third world places, of the lifestyle that they live, and even going into remote Australia up in the Northern Territory and the communities there. It's just so different. It's so wild. I remember we were in Arnhem Land, and the boys up there were just legends, but they'd never seen a drone before. We'd had the drone in the air, and they were just spun out. And for us, that's just like an everyday thing. And, all through Asia and the rest of the world, there's just so many different people that have that don't have the life we do in the Western society. So it's such a good way open your eyes and see a different perspective on life and how privileged that we are.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
over here, and the opportunities for even for us just to be talking about doing a lap.
Yeah.
It's such a privileged conversation, and I think it's why people need to take advantage of it.
Oh, definitely.
You know,
It still humbles me. Like, I hadn't done international travel. So when I was 13, younger. When I was 10, it was the first time I'd been to Delhi in India.
Yeah.
And I can't forget the name of the river, the Ghan maybe? I don't know. Anyway, they burn the bodies on there. So if you've got enough money, they'll cremate you on the land in a fire. If you don't have enough money, you just get thrown in the river.
Yeah, wow.
And I was a very young boy, and I remember seeing that and going, wow. Anyway, it'd been a while since I saw that. Like, I'd been to Indo and stuff and, you know, places, but not proper, like, poverty. Anyway, I went to Nepal, and they were burning bodies in Kathmandu in the river. And I just remember seeing it and going, I just forgot how lucky we are. Like, COVID was a terrible thing for a lot of people in Australia, but we were very lucky at the same time being in Australia. So for me not going overseas for a few years and then going into that and seeing dead bodies being burned in the river, it was just like, wow, I forgot how good we got it.
Yeah.
And it still does it to me. So, like, if you're someone in life that's think you're getting a bit overworked or stressed out by little things or feeling a bit privileged or just want like a little bit of a reset, book yourself a flight to somewhere like India, Pakistan, Nepal. Go somewhere poor. Go somewhere really poor and just spend a week there and you'll be fine. You'll be refreshed.
Yeah.
It'll be the best thing for you ever.
And the important thing to say is a lot of those places are the nicest people in the world. They're not complaining about anything.
Yeah.
There's barely judgment or no judgment.
Yeah.
And they're just literally, they'll love to see you. They're smiling, they're happy. They want to show you how they're doing things and you know how they go to school or whatnot. And it's crazy. It just opens your eyes, and you come back to Australia. Not saying it's bad or whatever, but it's just a different way. You got people complaining and judging you. And, you know, you're worried about going out and someone not talking to you or something, and it's
like going back to basics, like back to how it was.
For sure.
Like, you know, you go to those places and you don't see some fat mother eating junk food, pissed as a parrot around her daughter, because she's working hard, she's trying to provide, you know, like for her family. So like, if you can pick those traits up, same for the men over there, they're working their ass off for $1 a day.
For sure.
If you can bring those traits back to Australia, you're laughing, you're dreaming, like, so.
Yeah, 100%. Well, the last thing here, is there anything that you want to add, mate? Anything we haven't touched on, or?
Yeah.
We've gone through a fair bit.
Yeah, we've gone through pretty much everything. Hey, there's not a lot more to it than that. I will say, though, one thing is just like, it sounds so petty, but just like go and have fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. There's this, I never got along in school very well with the system and stuff, and I probably make just as much money as some of the most educated people that have come out of my school, probably if not more than all of them. And I did ATAR, but I got shit. I was 33.
Yeah.
You know, whereas I had a successful business. I've done a lap. You know, I've been overseas. Just forget all of those expectations. I'm not saying go and spend every cent on alcohol and drugs and be just an idiot. That's not what I'm saying.
Be realistic.
Be realistic. But go and spend money on travel. Go and buy the car you want to buy. Go and do this. Whatever, don't get in debt, don't get loans. I've never had a loan in my life and never will.
Yeah.
But just go and spend what you have and have fun. Because at the end of the day, we're in Australia. You can easily just, put it this way, you can fly to Perth, do a first aid course, and you've got a job in the mines paying you $3,000 a week.
Yeah.
You do a couple of swings, and before you know it, you're back in a house within a couple of weeks renting, and life is sweet again. And then 6 months later, you got $30K in your account.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand that. You can do that in Australia, but people are just nervous. So just forget about the standards and this whole idea of how you're meant to live your life, and just go and do it and just have fun and enjoy and just not care what people think. I was always caring. I was the bloke in school that never got a funny haircut because I was like, oh, these people would judge me. You know, like I remember my mate once got this like faded haircut. And I remember looking at him going, "What the hell did you do that for?" And then I eventually got one when I was like 23, and I was like,
sure.
"Oh, I've just caught up with the times."
Yeah.
So just go out and just have fun and just as long as you're not breaking the law and being a dickhead and end up in jail, just go and do what you want to do.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just be realistic with it all, and you have to have money to travel. You might have to earn, if you're younger and you don't have savings, you might have to earn money. And you don't want to go into debt, so you might have to work on the road, and it's not going to be all glamorous when you're travelling. There's things that we have to do. You might have to get something on special, or you might not be able to go out and socialise. But if you limit the things that make it risky or make it harder to travel, then there's so much more upside to it. So be realistic, and like Marco said, just go out and actually have fun and do it, because why not?
For sure. And I'll just touch on it briefly. With the work, there's so much work out there.
So much work.
It's crazy. Like I get people ask me, "Oh, is there work out there?" It is nuts. Like I'd put $1 million on it. I can get a job, not doing construction, which is my trade, what my business is. I could get a job in the next 5 hours. If we left here right now, we're at Wedge Island, I'd put $1 million on it. I can get a job within 5 hours. Not because not because I've got a huge amount of skills, which I do. Not because of that, but just because there's so much work.
Well, because you can get a job working at a cafe or something.
Yeah, anything just to get a bit of money to get you the next spot. You know, like it's easy.
Like you said, let's work on. Let's say you're traveling with your friend. We'll set the situation. You're traveling with your friend. You're spending money, so it's going to be $40K to do a lap. You literally need to make $20K a year. If you're working in towns, $20K a year is so achievable.
Easy.
So achievable. And if you come out at the end with $0 and you've done a whole lap of Australia, the memories that you'd have is just crazy. And then you're 22, 23, and you've done your lap and you've sort of worked at a cafe or something, you're going to get people start, chirping at you. Where's your degree, your apprenticeship? Who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Just do it.
And especially if you've got a girlfriend, there's places where you can just settle down for 2 months and grind. And, there's backpackers flying into places like Bundaberg and fruit picking for 6 weeks or 2 months, and they're coming out with 20K profit.
The backpackers is such an eye-opener as well, because you see them travelling. They live off they just want to make it happen. They live off nothing. They'll work at a fish and chip shop. Probably like peeling potatoes and not even probably on a legal wage. And they'll make it happen. They'll come back, get their chickpeas for dinner. Yet they're travelling around, and they're always in big groups of people, just having fun, laughing. They're inclusive, and I think there's barely Australians, apart from a handful, that will actually go and live a life like that. I think it's an eye opener.
Oh, it is. And at the end of the day, they're all busting their ass to get a citizenship here. Every backpacker that comes to Australia, unless you're a billionaire or a huge millionaire in somewhere like, I don't know, the Bahamas or whatever, every person that comes to Australia wants to live here and get a citizenship and work here. Every single one. That shows you something. Like how lucky we are.
Crazy.
So,
sounds good, mate. Well, that's going to be it, guys, for another chat on the Jamie Vogler Talk Show. Thanks so much for coming on, Marco.
Easy as. Thank you, eh?
No worries.
It's been good.
It's been, insane. I hope you guys have learnt some stuff, got some inspiration, and go out there and travel Australia or the world and create some memories. If you haven't yet, go follow Marco's account. I'll put his Instagram just here, and you keep up to date with his travels. And that'll be it. See you guys on the next show.
Leave a few comments and what you think, and make sure you go subscribe too.